Hey everyone, Combo here, back with another Empires and Puzzles video, and today I am going to talk about who I believe to be the top 10 rare ice heroes in the game right now. Over the last couple weeks, I've done my top 10 rare dark heroes and top 10 rare holy heroes. If you haven't checked out those videos, definitely do so. I will pin a comment with links to both of those videos down below, and then as I do the top 10 rare nature heroes and top 10 rare fire heroes, I will update that post with the links to those videos as well. Real quick before we get started, if you do enjoy this video or find it helpful, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and turn that notification bell on so you can be alerted of when I drop new content. And if you really love my channel, consider supporting my channel by becoming a member. If you click the join button next to where it says subscribed, you can get some information on the perks of becoming a member, including early access to videos like this, some cool avatars, one-on-one hero advice from me on the Line app, and some other perks as well. And I do want to mention that just because I do not have a hero on this top 10 list, it does not mean that that hero is not worth leveling up. These are just who I believe to be the top 10 rare ice heroes in the game right now. And this category of heroes, being the blue ice heroes, is going to definitely have a little bit of a different look compared to the other four colors, because it is very event heavy as far as the heroes that are useful for events. So we are going to talk a lot about that. And when I say events, I mean the challenge event festivals, and then also alliance quests as well. And first, I am going to talk about an honorable mention, and that is going to be Frosty. Frosty is from the Winter family. His mana speed is average. He is rogue class, has the defense up ether power, and where he would be most useful is in raid tournaments. So he is a healer. He's going to recover 32% health for all allies, summons an elf minion for each ally with 10% health and 10% attack inherited from the caster. Frosty is a solid healer, but not as good in my opinion as the next healer we're going to talk about. But that next healer that we're going to talk about is a cleanser, and if it is not useful for you to bring a cleanser to a raid tournament battle, then I would consider bringing Frosty over that next hero, because those minions obviously will be able to help you more than the cleanse if you don't actually need the cleanse. And that next healer actually is going to come in at number 10, and that is going to be Hilo. He is from the Underwild family. His mana speed is average. He is druid class. His ether power is defense up, and he would also be useful in raid tournaments. He is going to recover also 32% health for all allies, and then he cleanses status ailments from all allies. So I mentioned that he is a cleanser. So if you are not going up against any enemies who give ailments, then you're basically not getting the use out of half of his special. And if you happen to also have Frosty, then I think it would be more beneficial to bring Frosty to a raid tournament battle if you need a blue healer. I think in general, the blue ice category probably has the weakest healers in the game out of the 5 elements. And spoiler alert, Hilo here at number 10 is actually the highest ranked healer I've got on this top 10 ice rare hero list. Coming in at number 9, we have the first of many tunes in this top 10 list here. I've got Veilen. He is of course part of the classic family. His mana speed is fast. He is fighter class, and his ether power is attack up. Where he would be useful is also in raid tournaments. He only hits one, but it is at a pretty high percentage at 330% damage to the target. The target gets minus 28% defense for 6 turns and deals extra damage against fire. Veilen is definitely the best 3-star ice sniper in the game, but I think that there are definitely other better heroes that have more use in events and raid tournaments other than Veilen. Again, still good at number 9, but we've got some better ones that we're going to be taking a look at. Coming in at number 8, I've got Jukahan. He is from the Veilen family. He is average mana speed. His class is rogue. His ether power is special boost, and where he would also be useful is in raid tournaments. And this is his brand new costume that just came out in the game earlier this week. His costume was just introduced with the reintroduction of Veilen. For his special, he is going to dispel buffs from all enemies, deals 180% damage to all enemies. All enemies are immune to new status effect buffs for 4 turns. Against nature characters, this status effect becomes uncleansable and lasts 2 turns longer. Jukahan is extremely annoying to go up against in raid tournaments, especially in buff booster raid tournament when you're trying to give yourself all the buffs. Although as annoying as he can be to go up against when he's on a defense, I think he's actually more useful on offense, especially in Buff Booster, because I don't know about you all, but I tend to see a lot more glass heroes on defenses than I do toons. Personally, I think that toons are a lot more useful, especially because of buff dispels and mana reductions. And if you think about the fact that Jukahan is going to cast this inability to get new status effects for 4 turns, if you're going up against 5 glass heroes and Jukahan goes off, say all 5 of them reflect it back, it's only going to affect Jukahan. It's not going to affect any of the other 4 allies. So personally, I think that toons are significantly better, especially for the rare heroes where there are not really many counterattack heroes, which is really the biggest advantage to glass heroes. So Jukahan, solid hero for raid tournaments. Moving on to number 7, we've got another hero who is really good for raid tournaments, and I would have loved to have had Dawn higher on this list, but honestly, there are some really good heroes we're going to be talking about soon. She is from the Plains Hunter family. She is average mana speed. Her class is cleric. Her ether power is defense up, and where she would be useful also is in raid tournaments. So for her special, she summons a hunting owl minion for the caster and nearby allies with 10% health and 20% attack inherited from the caster. Each hit from a hunting owl minion reduces the mana of the target by -6%. The caster and nearby allies get plus 54% defense against special skills for 3 turns, and cleanses status ailments from the caster and nearby allies. So I was just talking about with Jukahan and how I feel like a lot of people put glass heroes on defenses rather than toons. Dawn is another hero who highly benefits from going up against glass heroes rather than toons, because the toons are going to have a 75% chance to resist the instant mana reduction from those minion hits. Glass heroes don't have the ability to resist instant mana reductions. So whenever I see Dawn on a defense, I just bring a bunch of toons. I hope that you all and everybody else does that, but it really kind of makes her much less effective on a defense. And also if you've got Cavassier and his minions who make it so that no enemy can get any new minions, it kind of takes away her usefulness, especially where she cleanses after she summons those minions. So I do think that Dawn is extremely useful and effective, but not very effective against specific heroes, which are toons and Cavassier, who a lot of people have at this point. So I generally never have issues going up against Dawn. I do still use her sometimes in 3-star raid tournaments, and I do think that she can be very effective, but it has to be against the right teams, and going up against glass heroes is great. Pretty much any hero who is not a toon is great to bring Dawn against. If it weren't for toons being so popular in the game, she would be higher on my list. Moving on to number 6, we have the first of the event heroes that we're going to talk about. I've got Yao. He is from the War of Three Kingdoms family. His mana speed is average. He is ranger class. His ether power is attack up, and where he would be useful is in raid tournaments and in events. So any hero who is a 3-hitter or more is generally considered a good event hero, because when you have those first couple phases, and even in the boss stage, you're not going to have more than 3 enemies that you're going up against. In tower events, you will eventually see up to 4 enemies, but you're more than likely not using rare heroes in tower events if you're trying to place higher. But for alliance quests and challenge events, obviously there's the rare category. For Yao, he is going to deal 215% damage to the target and nearby enemies. He summons a Wei soldier minion with 20% health and 25% attack inherited from the caster. Each hit from a Wei soldier minion dispels all dispellable buffs from the target. So this second and third part about the Wei soldier minion getting health and attack inherited from the caster and dispelling buffs is really more useful for raid tournaments. It's really that first part of his special, dealing 215% damage to the target and nearby enemies. That is what makes him useful for events. I would only consider using Yao in challenge events or alliance quests if you don't have some of these other heroes that I'm going to talk about, and some of those you may even want to have multiples of. We'll take a look at those in a moment, but Yao is a solid backup option for events. Next up at number 5, I have Toon Mer, and we're going to talk about his toon version and also one of his other costumes. He is, of course, part of the classic family. His mana speed is slow. His class is wizard. His ether power is defense up, and where he would be useful is in raid tournaments and events, and not his toon version for events. It has to be in raid tournaments, because if you use costume gunner, which we're going to talk about eventually, the wizard class class has a high probability chance to remove any buff, which the shared damage is currently considered a buff even if you are giving it to an enemy. It's been talked about and referenced on the forum a few times how the game is potentially looking at making that an ailment so that it does not get dispelled, especially if you're giving it to the enemy. So until the game fixes that, you cannot use the wizard version in challenge events or alliance quests if you're using the costume gunner approach with the shared damage. But he does have a monk version, which is also very good, and it also gives an attack up to all of your allies. I like the Toon version better for raid tournaments, and I like the monk version for events. So for his Toon version, he is slow mana speed, of course, and deals 146% damage to all enemies. Why the game comes up with an obscure number like 146% damage is beyond me, but he does that, and then all enemies get minus 24% defense for 6 turns, deals extra damage against fire. Ulmer is a must-have on both your offense and defense in rush attack raid tournament for 3 stars, and honestly can also be useful outside of rush attack raid tournaments as well, especially because of the wizard class being able to dispel buffs. Ulmer, solid hero, great uses for both his Toon version and his monk version. Next up at number 4, we've got Costume Nordri. He is from the Jotunheim realm, which is also part of Season 3 Valhalla. He has average mana speed, his class is monk, his ether power is counterattack, and where he would be useful is literally in everything. Raid tournaments, challenge events and alliance quests, and titans. So he has an elemental defense down factor, which we'll talk about in his special, so he's useful for titans because of that. He's useful for challenge events and alliance quest because of that, plus the fact that he's a 3-hitter, and then he's also useful in raid tournaments as well. I would say more on offense for raid tournaments than on defense though. I would not have Costume Nordri on your defense. For his special, he is going to deal 220% damage to the target and nearby enemies. All enemies get minus 54% defense against ice for 3 turns. Against fire characters, this effect becomes uncleansable and lasts 2 turns longer. So the regular base version of him hits a little bit higher to one target and then minor damage to the nearby enemies. And then the elemental defense down is actually for 4 turns, but does not have that little thing about fire characters being 2 turns longer and undispellable. So personally, I find the costume version better, which is this one right here, because if you don't have another 4-star or 5-star elemental defense down version for your ice heroes, then Nordri can still be useful for that. And he's going to make it so that the Titan gets the minus 54% defense for 5 total turns, assuming that you're using a blue ice team against a red fire Titan. I know a lot of people have a 5-star hero, whether that's Costume Perseus or any of the other 5-star legendary heroes that have an elemental defense down factor. But if you are newer to the game or free to play, Costume Nordri is a great, cheap, easy to get option compared to some of the other 5-star heroes. Definitely would recommend him, like I said, for Titans, for challenge events and alliance quests because of the elemental defense down and him being a 3-hitter, and then on offense for raid tournaments. Next up at number 3, we have Swan Maiden. She is from the Secrets of the Opera family. Her mana speed is average. Her class is Paladin. Her ether power is dodge, and where she would be useful is in raid tournaments and events. I do use Swan Maiden in raid tournaments. I don't really use her in events though, because I have a very specific strategy for challenge events with my ice team, and I'm actually going to display what that looks like at the end of the video. But she is extremely useful for her special. The caster regenerates 402 health over 3 turns. The caster gets plus 30% chance to dodge special skills that deal damage for 3 turns. She then casts the Dance of the Little Swan to all allies but the caster for 3 turns. All existing status effects will be removed when the effect is added. Dance of the Little Swan gives plus 30% chance to dodge attacks and special skills, gives 35% chance to deal 240% damage to a random enemy after any subsequent special skill is cast, gives immunity to new status effects. New dance effects will replace this effect. This effect cannot be dispelled. This effect is removed when the caster dies. So she gives dodge to special skills for herself. All of your other allies also get plus 30% chance to dodge both attacks and special skills. And then there's the like Dark Feather effect, where if anybody else casts their special afterwards, the other 4 allies have a 35% chance to deal 240% damage to a random enemy. That is a lot of fun to use, especially if you've got a heavy blue stack and are going to be firing multiple specials off at the same time. So very useful for both raid tournaments, offense and defense. I would say left flank or left wing would be the best place for her on a defense. And then if you're going to be using multiple blue ice heroes in a raid tournament, fire her first and then maybe Kareel or Nordri or maybe a couple Kareels. If you do that, you are going to be doing a ton of damage to the enemy. So obviously that's useful for raid tournaments, but also think about the boss stage, the third stage in challenge events and in alliance quests. If you fire Swan Maiden first and then 4 other specials directly after that, or maybe 2 or 3, you're going to be getting that special skill damage and then also any of those extra hits that you get from Swan Maiden's dance effect that she gives to everybody. So that is a great, easy way to clear out that boss stage at the end. Moving on to number 2, I have Toon Kareel. He is from the classic family, of course. His mana speed is average, his class is barbarian, his ether power is rage, and where he is useful is in raid tournaments and in events. Kareel is a must-have if you want to compete in challenge events and in alliance quests. I may or may not have 3 Toon Kareels at level 60, and I was actually fortunate enough to pull 2 of them with the masterclass emblems in the instant summon portal. So I've actually got 2 of them at level 25, and then I have my 3rd one at level 24. And I use all 3 of them in challenge events and alliance quests for the rare stage, and sometimes I even use 1 or 2 in the epic level because he is that good. His attack stat is extremely high. For his special, he deals 290% damage to the target and minor damage to nearby enemies, deals extra damage against fire. So it's simple, but it is a lot of damage. And if you know how challenge events and alliance quests work, you know that doing it as quickly as possible gets you a higher score. And Toon Kareel's animation for his actual special is like lightning quick. That is one of the reasons why he is so useful in alliance quests and challenge events, because of the fact that he's an extremely hard hitter and his special is extremely fast. It's really one of those like, if you know kind of type of things. That is literally why I use 3 of them on my challenge event and alliance quest team. All right, moving on to number 1. I've got all of my alliance mates that are watching this right now saying, Gunther, Gunther! And I'm going to give a little background to this right now. Please allow me to entertain myself and the rest of my alliance mates. Hopefully you all find this as funny as we do. So first of all, coming in at number 1 is Costume Gunner, his druid version, which gives the shared damage to all enemies. So my alliance, the Praetorian Guardians, has been around for about 6 or 7 months or so. We are a top 25 alliance, and when we started creeping into the top 100 maybe 3 or 4 months ago, we decided that we wanted to try to compete in alliance quest to see if we could get top 100. And we're all helping each other out, talking about strategy, how we get high scores. And if you'd like to compete in challenge events and alliance quests, then you know that Costume Gunner, this version of him, is extremely important because of that shared damage. So I'm going off about Gunner and talking about how awesome he is and showing videos of gameplay of how to use him. And I don't know if it was like a typo or if it was on purpose or something like that, but somebody said Gunther instead of Gunner. And then whenever somebody brought up Gunner or Gunther, somebody would say Gunther with 3 exclamation points. Always has to be with 3 exclamation points. This became so much of a thing that the person who started this actually changed their in-game name to Gunther with 3 exclamation points. So if you go up against us in Alliance Wars, you will see one of our members named Gunther with 3 exclamation points, and that has also turned into our war cry, so to speak. So whenever somebody does something really good, we say Gunther with 3 exclamation points. It has certainly added a lot of fun to our daily aspect of the game, and it's all due to this guy, number 1 on my top 10 ice rare list, Gunner. He is from the classic family, of course. He is slow mana speed, his class is druid, his ether power is defense up, and where he is useful is in raid tournaments and events. Events is the primary reason why I have him at number 1 here. So when he casts his special, all enemies become soul connected for 5 turns. Soul connected enemies share receive damage. All enemies get minus 44% defense for 5 turns as well. So the reason why he is so useful, if you are not aware, Gunner, when you cast that special, you can match tiles anywhere on the board, and depending on how powerful your heroes are, you can kill all 3 enemies in that phase of the challenge event or alliance quest. Even if you're just matching tiles on the right-hand side, it's potentially going to kill all 3 of them, which makes those battles go that much faster. With the right strategy and using the right items, you can finish a lot of those stages in 22 to 25 seconds. And if you get the right match combinations, then that is how you are going to get those extremely high scores, by combining the match bonus and the time bonus. If what I'm saying does not make sense, go search challenge events or alliance quests on my YouTube, and I have a couple videos on some of my past events that I've done, and the strategy of how to optimize Costume Gunner is definitely displayed there. And the really cool thing about Gunner is he is not just useful for rare events. You can use him in epic and even in legendary portions of the challenge event and alliance quests. He is an easy hero to upgrade and to level, obviously, because he's a 3-star hero, and well worth doing so. So if you're going to be using a heavy blue team in either epic or in legendary, which it's pretty popular to do so in legendary, you definitely need to level up Costume Gunner. You don't even need to get him to level 60 because his attack stat really isn't that high anyway. It's not going to be that much less if you have him just at level 55 if you want to save the Alpha Ether. I do think that his Toon version is a little bit more effective for raid tournaments. I remember a very specific 3-star raid tournament where Toon Gunner was at the tank position and he had 2 blues on the flanks, and because the Toon makes it so that the shared receive damage and the defense up is undispellable, it is like impossible to do any damage against the enemy once Toon Gunner goes off, especially in a rush raid tournament. So you really need to kill him before he goes off. So I think he's very useful for defense there. On offense, you really could use either version, either this version, which gives the shared receive damage and defense down for all enemies, or you could use the Toon version as well. Really kind of just depends on the rest of your team makeup and what your strategy is. But Gunner is an extremely useful hero, and I do want to give a shout out to Gunther. I am sure that you are watching. I know that you're one of my followers. Thank you for always supporting the channel. And the last thing that I want to talk about in this video, I've brought it up quite a few times, how the rare ice heroes are probably the most useful compared to any other color element for challenge events and alliance quests. I feel like I've brought that up like 17 times this video. I am sorry if I have, but that really speaks to how important the blue heroes are for challenge events and alliance quests. And I want to show you what my blue event team looks like. And here it is here. You can see that I do have Costume Gunner, of course, first, and then I've got the monk version of Ulmer, and then I've got 3 Toon Kareels. This team is unstoppable. Once I put 1 medium mana potion and 2 minor potions on Gunner, that gets his special off, and then just matching like 1 set of blue tiles usually kills all 3 of the enemies. I tried to make it so that I get as many cascades as possible. If you can get 5 to 7 cascades in just that first match, then in the second phase, you would use battle axes or the axe attacks to kill your enemies, and then use your regular specials again in the third phase, the boss stage, to kill everybody off again. That's how you get through those battles extremely quickly. I have personally finished in the top 100 in the Alliance Quest individual portion, and I've also finished in the top 100 for rare, epic, and legendary portions of the regular challenge events as well. I know a lot of people don't like challenge events, alliance quests, and the competition and the grind of having to repeat stages and stuff like that. Personally, I really enjoy the challenge, pun intended, of trying to get as high of a score as possible in challenge events and alliance quests. And those are who I believe to be the top 10 blue ice rare heroes in the game right now. Let me know what you all think of this list, if I have somebody too low, too high, if I left somebody off. And definitely let me know who your favorite 3-star blue ice hero is. And that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it or found it helpful. And if you did, hit that like button. Make sure you sub to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.